Hello, sixth graders. I am going to go through the answers to yesterday's homework assignment, which was the 8.4 activity slash lesson on volumes of rectangular prisms. Now, what I have here is what you see when you go into bigideasmath.com. So I'm going to go through each of these questions and kind of give you some hints and some tips about where you might have made mistakes. One thing to keep in mind is sometimes students have the right answer, they just type it in wrong into that little answer box. If that happens, your teachers can see what answer you typed in. So if you typed in the right answer, it was just not read by the computer correctly, then we will still give you credit for answering that question correctly. So please do your best at all times, and we will always help you if you have any questions. So getting started on yesterday's homework assignment, you had to do 4 through 12 even, and then 19 through 22 all. So first one was finding the volume of the prism. So you know from the lesson yesterday that you do length times width times height. So 3/4 times 3/5 times 2/3. Well, if you remember back to the beginning of the year, we learned about how to multiply fractions. And one cool thing that you can do with multiplying fractions is you can cross cancel some things. So for example, because this 3 is on top and this 3 is on the bottom, I can cross cancel those to make them both 1s. Another thing I can cross cancel is this 2 and this 4. 2 would become a 1, and the 4 divided by 2 would leave me with 2 down there on the bottom. Now I have gotten rid of anything that could be cross-canceled, so now I'm just going to multiply straight across. 3 times 1 is just 3. 2 times 5 times 1 is 10, and that is in simplest form. Now when you click on this box, it comes up with a screen, and one of the options has a box, a line, and then another box underneath it, and that's the one that you want to click on. You click that, and then the top box you type in 3, and in the bottom box you type in 10 to answer question number 4. Question number 5, this rectangular prism is actually a cube because the length, width, and height are all the same. So 2/5 times 2/5 times 2/5. Nothing I can cross cancel in this one, so I just multiply straight across. 2 times 2 times 2 is of course 8. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So you would type into this answer box, same thing as last time, hit the little fraction one, which is a box, a line, and then a box underneath it. You would type in 8 on the top and 125 on the bottom. Question number 8. We have a rectangular prism here, and we need to multiply 2 1/4 times 5/6 times 1 2/3. I rearranged this a little bit, but if you remember with the commutative property, you can rearrange multiplication problems just to make them a little bit easier to work with. Now, in order to multiply these two mixed numbers with this fraction, I have to rewrite these mixed numbers as improper fractions. So remember, I multiply these two numbers, add that to the top number, and keep the bottom number the same. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 would be 9, and I keep the bottom number the same. 9/4 would be the improper fraction. 3 stays on the bottom. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 would be 5, so the improper fraction would be 5/3. So now I want to multiply those three fractions together, but of course I want to see if there's anything I can cross cancel, and there are a few things I can cross cancel on this one. First thing I see is this 9 and the 3. I can change that 3 to a 1 and change this 9 to a 3 to simplify those two. Then I also actually see a 3 here and a 6 here. That 3 can be canceled to become a 1, and dividing a 3 out of that 6 leaves me with just 2 on the bottom there. So now I multiply straight across. 1 times 5 is 25, and 4 times 1 times 2 is 8. 25/8 can be simplified. I can take 8 out of 25 3 times, and that leaves me with 1/8 left over. And again, clicking on this box, you can type in 3 and 1/8 by using the little key that comes up when you click on that box. Question number 10 is a little bit trickier. You have two parts to this question. You have to answer both parts in order to get the full credit. It says write and solve an equation to find the missing dimension of the prism. And you can see that this prism has 9 by 9 by h, which is what I don't know, but then they give me the volume up here. And I know that this volume has to equal this number times this number times this number. So that's the equation that I would want to write into this box. 620 equals 9 times h. Now I want to go to work in solving that to find the height, the number here. So I want to multiply the 9 times 9 together first, and I get 81. So that leaves me with 81 times h equals 1620. Well, to undo multiplying by 81, I would divide by 81 on both sides. That causes those 81s to cancel, and 1620 divided by 81 leaves me with 20. So that means this missing height here, the number I would type into this box here, would be 20. This equation goes into this box, and then 20 would go into this box right there. Question number 12 is kind of similar to the last one. Write and solve an equation to find the missing dimension of the prism. So they give me the volume, and I know that this volume is going to come from 1 3/4 times W times 19. So the equation that has to go into that box would look like this. 532 equals 19 times W times 1 3/4. Now 1 3/4 is a little bit tricky to work with, but I can just turn that into a decimal and actually makes it a little bit easier. 1 3/4 would actually be the decimal 1.75. If you typed this into that equation box, we would check it and we would see that you had the right answer because 1 3/4 and 1.75 are the same thing. Now I want to solve for the width. So just like last time, I want to multiply those two numbers together. 19 times 1.75 is 33.25. And 33.25 times W equals 532. Well, to undo multiplying by 33.25, I want to divide by 33.25 on both sides. So remember, top number divided by the bottom number. 532 divided by 33.25 is 16. So that would be the number that would go into this blank. I know a few of my students definitely made a mistake when we were solving equations in that they thought they could do 33.25 divided by 532, but nope, it has to be top number divided by the bottom number or you'll get the wrong answer. Next is the review questions. So it says, tell that the given value is a solution of the equation. So what I want to do is I have x plus 17 equals 24. And I want to see if I put 7 in for x, if that's going to be a true statement. So 7 plus 17 is 24. So that means I would type the word is. A solution would actually, when you click on this box, it gives you a pull down and it's either is or is not, and I would select is to go into this blank because 7 plus 17 is 24, so 7 is a solution. Next one, tell whether the given value is a solution of the equation. X divided by 5 equals 6, and they want me to replace x with 35. So 35 divided by 5, that does not equal 6. So in that pull down menu, when I click in this box, I would select is not a solution because 35 divided by 5 does not equal 6. Next question says, tell whether the given value is a solution of the equation. So I'm going to replace 21 here with, replace x with 21. 21 minus 19 is not 42, it's 3. So when I click on this little box, I would select is not a solution for this problem. Last one, which set of integers is in order from least to greatest? Now remember, for it to be in order from least to greatest, all my negatives have to come first, gradually getting up to the positives. So if I look at this set of numbers, negative 5 here should actually go over here, and negative 8 should go over there as well. So that one's not in order from least to greatest. Same thing with this one. This negative 8 should go over there, and this negative 5 should go over there as well. So this one's not in order from least to greatest. That's a little mistake that I think their textbook company made because those two are the exact same answer. So those are not from least to greatest. Then if I check this one, negative 4, negative 2, 1, 7, 10, those ones are in order from least to greatest, so I would select that one. But I want to double check down here. Nope, this one's not in order because this 6 and this negative 4 should actually be switched around. So that means I would select this one as the answer for which set of integers in order from least to greatest. All right, today you are going to be doing a quiz reviewing sections 8.3 and 8.4, which would be surface area of prisms, pyramids, and volumes of rectangular prisms. So it also is going to involve some vertices and things like that. So hopefully you will be able to get into that quizzes and answer those questions to the best you can. Thanks for watching.